What a magnificent goal!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live All Things Sky Blue show. As Coventry City confirmed that we are indeed the champions of the Championship with a fantastic 5-1 win against Portsmouth. So tonight we'll be talking about the Pompey game with Cameron, who I'll be on very shortly, and then we'll also look ahead to Sunday's lunchtime kickoff against Wrexham, where we'll obviously be lifting the title. So really happy, looking forward to that, and looking forward to this show as well. So before we bring Cameron on, I've got a few housekeeping to do, bits of housekeeping. Our show is sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. For all your fabrication needs across Coventry and the Warwickshire area, we're partnered by Dillard's Brewery and the Sky Blue Tavern. We're sponsored by Sky and Friends, should I say, Pet and Dog Walking Services. And we are part of the Sports Social podcast. And obviously you can find us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to All Things Sky Blue. On TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, etc. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to bring Cameron on. We'll talk about the great win against Portsmouth. Cameron, good to have you on again. We are the champions.
I am absolutely over the moon. What a night. What a night. What a performance. A 5-star performance in a 5-star season and 5 goals. High fives all around. Just what a night. Cagey first half. We got that goal, but Portsmouth were kind of holding their own, and then the floodgates just opened second half, I think. So in a way, it was a celebration for both teams, because even though Portsmouth got absolutely folded, results elsewhere meant that they were safe from relegation, and they can now enjoy another season in the Championship. So congratulations to Portsmouth on that. With your recent form, you certainly deserve it. You've done a really great job. And as for helping us achieve promotion and then folding for us, thank you for that too, because we really appreciate it.
Devastating seeing Leicester go down, wasn't it? I say
Inject it in my veins.
Yeah. It was a brilliant night. Us as champions, Leicester going down. I don't think you could ask for a better script than that. But going back to the game itself, went back to 4 at the back. Hadji Wright started up front. I think it was a pretty good side. I guess the only slight surprise maybe was Lati Boudia wasn't in the side. He went for Lynn Kitchen. But as you say, cagey first half, but we got that goal from a Radoni corner, and Hadji Wright mops up the mistake from the goalkeeper to score. And I thought it was important to get that sort of early-ish goal, wasn't it? Just to settle the crowd down. But I felt it was a game where the pressure was off us a bit completely. Now we obviously had promotion confirmed at Blackburn, even that we just looked a bit more comfortable, a bit more settled. We didn't really play with any fear. We just played the way we have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had a feeling that would be the case as well. I think the moment promotion was confirmed, okay, we've done it now. And the task is simple: 3 points and we're champions. And I think just having that objective, I think the objective of achieving the Championship felt a lot less taxing than promotion. The hard bit's promotion. The next bit is, okay, can you go and become champions? But in a league like the Championship, it's not the end of the world if you don't win the league. So I think there weren't really that pressure, but we also knew that we were more than good enough to do so. And boy, did we show it, because Portsmouth, they're not a bad side. Sure, on the night, they made a couple of bad mistakes. Case in point, the second and third goals, they were very poor. Poor goalkeeping from Nicholas Schmid, which is quite rare from Schmid. He's had a very good season, and I don't think that mistake changes that for him. And then Regan Paul trying to block across. I'll give him benefit of the doubt. He's unlucky. He tries to block it and it goes in. It happens to every defender. But you take them, and then we went on to get a fourth and then a fifth. For me, Mason Clark and Bobby Thomas were our men of the match jointly, because Bobby Thomas was just an absolute unit. He was dominating his duels, and then his passing, the way he was just spraying balls left and right, everywhere. Like this is like that goal is just giving him not that he needed a new lease of life, but it's just turned him into a different animal. And
Yeah.
Mason Clark, he just ran the show.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He was back to his best, I thought. I think a lot of games, noticed the opposition tend to put sort of 2 men on him. Didn't see that as much with Mason Clark, but yeah, he had a really good game last night. I thought the team generally was excellent. I think Portsmouth, I thought their best player from what I saw was Connor Chaplin. I thought on his return to Cov, or maybe not so much Cov. He was playing more at Birmingham than he was at Cov, but I thought he was pretty good for them. But yeah, it's just a great night. I think the atmosphere was fantastic. Celebrations were brilliant. And I think it was just nice to get that sort of title clinched win at home as well, because obviously we announced promotion at Blackburn, but to get the title wrapped up at home, I think was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no better place to wrap up the championship than in your home ground, and that brings us to Sunday when we get to lift that beautiful trophy. And like, if you ask me what my favourite trophy in world football is, even before we won the league, I would have said the championship trophy. It's just so gorgeous. It was I believe it was the old Division 1 trophy as well. I think the design was a little bit different, but it's still very, very similar. And I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right.
Sunday can't wait. Can't like please, can it just get to Sunday already? Yeah. And I'm gonna be a cynic and say I wouldn't be at all surprised if we lost on Sunday, but I don't think we'll care because we're gonna get to see a trophy there. But we're gonna be optimistic. Actually, we're gonna win, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I think we've lost a bit too many times to Wrexham for my liking, so I think it'd be nice to get one over them for a change. Right, I've got some comments from audience. Katie Talks Rovers is back. Evening, Katie. Evening, March. She says, we gave you a point on Friday. Can you pray for us that we beat Sheffield United tonight? Well, I think we do, because I think you did us a nice big favour there by giving us a point. So yeah, I'm sure Blackburn will be fine. But yeah, good luck to you against the Blades tonight. Assassins Unite, Championi, ole, ole, ole. Yeah, love all that. Yeah, she's happy that we've won and Leicester gone down. I think that's it's obviously a thing it's a bug that's catching across the country. So it's good to see many people enjoying the demise of Leicester City. And Glenn makes the point here about it was great that no one was invading the pitch. I think that was a big thing from last night that obviously Doug King put out a message on the website about. And I think that was good to see. I think the only thing that slightly annoyed me was now smoke bombs, but I guess it is what it is. Every goal we scored, there's a flare being.
I loved them. No pyro, no party.
It just delayed this game. That's something I was a bit annoyed about.
Yeah,
but,
I get it.
Yeah, that's something I was annoyed. But yeah, I mean, it's just a really good night. I think once we got to 3-0, we just thought, yeah, the party's on now. We really can just enjoy the rest of the evening. It's unusual territory for us, though, isn't it? Being in a position. How often have you ever been in a position where we're champions with 2 games to go? I mean, it's unthinkable, isn't it?
I know.
It's boring, isn't it? Being so good now, isn't it? I mean, obviously next season might be different, of course, but for the moment, it is boring in a way.
I know. I've always been told that Cov do things the our way and make everything go down the wire. I think I've just been sold a lie.
Yeah.
But you know what? Joking aside, I think it's good that we've got promoted, but not only got promoted, we've done it very comfortably. We have been the best team in the championship, hands down. Okay, sure, Southampton had a shaky start and they've been on this monumental run, but they didn't start well enough, and that's not our problem. We were consistent all season long. Seasons, they last 46 games, not 23. So before anyone says, "Oh, you're lucky Southampton had a poor start," no, we're not lucky. They should have just had a better start. That's football. And we deserve this. We've been the best team all season long. We had one little blip in the winter, but we shook that off with convincing fashion, going on that amazing run that we did, and we deserve to celebrate this.
We do, and I think obviously the most wins this season, 26. I think we've got over 90 goals now in the Championship. Possibly won't make 100 by the end of the season, but getting not far off it. And it's been entertaining, hasn't it? It's been a really entertaining season to watch. Sure, there's been a few games we've had to really dig out wins. I think of the Bristol City game at home. I think of Swansea at home. Sheffield United away. I thought we really had to dig in and get a result, and even the home game at Sheffield United. I think what's impressed me about us this season is when questions have been asked of us in the main, we've answered it in with aplomb. We've come back from losing positions to win. The team spirit has always been good. You always look at the unseen footage, and the players are always happy. And I guess it's easy to say that when you're winning games, but you can never ever question the camaraderie with the playing squad. It's absolutely great to see. It's just been a joy to watch, hasn't it, in general?
Yeah, and I think I think for me that was the most important thing. And I'm gonna go back to January, February time where we did have a little bit of a difficult run. There was no blaming each other. There wasn't mismatched blaming each other. Oh, it's your fault. It's your fault. They realised, okay, it's a bad run. We need to get out of this. They took accountability. We added to certain areas. Case in point, Roman Esse came in, and although he's not started every game, I've been impressed from what I've seen. I know he divides opinion a little bit, but I like what I see of him. And yes, I also agree that Sakamoto is the starter ahead of him. But when he's come in, he's done a job. He's done well, and I thought he did really well last night too. And obviously Frank Onyeka, he's been the difference maker for me. Just this like Premier League know-how. He's played 75 Premier League games. He's won a league title in Denmark with Midtjylland. He's played in Europe. He's played some really, really big games. And I think having someone like him come through the door and give the players that know-how, I think that really, really helped. And I'm gonna credit the squad players too. Your Jake Bidwells, your Jamie Allens, your Ben Wilsons. They don't play every week. In fact, they barely play at all at the minute. But they haven't moaned, they haven't complained. And I'm going to throw Luke Wolfenden in this list because he was bought for a fair bit of money. We all thought he's going to walk in and be this really big signing. It's not really worked out like that. However, it doesn't mean that he hasn't had an impact because he has. He's a senior figure. He knows how to get promoted. And finally, Kane Kesler-Hayden. Kane Kesler-Hayden, what a player he is.
Yeah.
He's a player of really, really high quality. Yeah, he can't get a start because of how good Milan is. And Kane Kesler-Hayden would start in most championship sides. But the hunger he's shown when he came on, that desire to get that goal and that celebration, which I'm sure he got fined for because I don't think managers like the somersault acrobatic celebrations in case you break your leg. But great to see from him, and he could easily feel hard done by and could have complained, but he's not playing all the time. But he hasn't. He's bided his time, and he knew the opportunities would come. And you know what? I actually would be happy to keep Kane Kesler-Hayden as our second choice right back in the Premier League. I genuinely think he's that good.
Yeah, definitely. I think in a way you could even play Kesler-Hayden and Milan together when Sakamoto's injured. You could play two of them, one further forward than the other, maybe if you're playing that sort of 4-4-1-1 formation. As a bit surprised that Frank hasn't considered that, but who am I to question Frank Lampard, who's manager of the season and has taken us to the top of the league? But I mean, that's just my opinion. But Frank knows more about football than what you or I do, so I think I'll definitely trust his judgment. But that's possibly an option I would possibly think of. But no, I think Kesler-Hayden is a great backup player. Going back to your point, he'll definitely be in the squad for next season. But I guess if you want to look to the summer, obviously it's a bit of a way off. We still want to enjoy it, being the sunshine of the champions. There is going to be a lot of business that needs to be done in the summer, isn't there?
Yeah, easily. And that's not because we don't believe in the current crop of players. We absolutely do. And I think a good chunk of them are going to stay with us. But the realistic thing is the Premier League, the quality is higher. There's going to be more difficult teams, more difficult games who have better players. And more importantly, more depth. So we're going to need not only are we going to need to sign quality players, we're also going to need to add depth. So can the players who are currently starting the 11, who may not retain their starting place, can you step up and still provide important squad depth? And I'm talking about the likes of Josh Eccles here, who I think he's not played every week in the Championship, but I think in a weird way, I think he'll be fine in the Premier League. I think he's got the street smarts, he's got the know-how. And he's a grafter, which is what you need when you are likely going to be in a relegation dogfight. You need to fight to survive, and you need someone like Eccles He's got a bit about him. He's quite physical. He's quite good technically as well. So players like Eccles, and I think the profile of player I personally hope we go for are players who are physical. And obviously the wider players, we also need a bit of pace because the counter-attack might end up being our friend in the Premier League, because we're not going to enjoy as much possession as we have this season. That's just reality. We're not as good on the ball as Premier League sides, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you need to adapt, and I've got absolutely no problem doing that. People can mention Sunderland as great as they have been. I want to point out Leeds, because although it's been a little bit harder for them, they're currently outside the bottom three. They look like they're going to be safe, but their profile of player has been physical. And I'll look at Anton Stach. I want someone like him in the midfield. I want someone like that, a bit physical, a bit intimidating. Put him next to Onyeka. And yes, this is controversial, but I think with the way we will likely play, I think we need midfielders who are going to be comfortable outside of possession. And as much as I'm very much going to be keeping Grimes in the squad, am I necessarily comfortable with him starting every week when he's most comfortable with possession and without it? I'm not sure, but time will tell.
But he's a captain as well, isn't he, Grimes? So I guess
yes,
I'd be surprised if Lampard changed it when captain was helps to get us the champions. But that's a call Lampard's going to make. I think we need, a backup left back for Jada Silva. I think Bidwell's been a really good servant for the football club, but I don't think he's what we need, unfortunately, for next level.
I think we need a starting one.
Yeah. Who do you think out there? Do you think is out there in the market that if you was to hazard a guess, who you could potentially get?
Yeah, I'm gonna type in his name now. He's a bit more of an obscure shout than the teams from like established decisions, but there is a left back in the Eredivisie called Soufiane El Karouni. He is a Morocco international, and he's been in the Eredivisie for the better part of 5 years now. He's with NEC Nijmegen, and he's now at FC Utrecht. He's done very well in the Europa League and in the Eredivisie with Utrecht. He's got a market value of around 7.4 million. I will have to double check his contract length, but if he's available on a free, then it's a no-brainer for me. But even then, I would bring him in. I think he could step up to the Premier League.
A couple of comments here from Glenn about potential signs. I think it's Dennis Serkin at Sunderland on a free.
Not a bad shout. Dennis Serkin is also a left back. I believe he's Latvian. He's not really played a lot of football this year because of the new signings, but he's at a good age, 24, still got a fair bit of growing to do. So yeah, it's not the worst shout in the world. So if he becomes available, and he is available on a Bosman transfer, so yeah, I wouldn't say no to that.
And can we sign Hayden Hackney?
If Middlesbrough don't go up, Glenn, he's the first name on my signing list. Like even before Carl Rushworth, Hayden Hackney, Championship Player of the Year, deservingly so, out of this world. His Premier League debut is long overdue. Do I think we'll sign Hackney? Probably not. I think someone like a West Ham or a Fulham will probably come in and swoop in, and it'd be worth every penny. That being said, if there is a slight of a chance, yeah, we've got to go for it, surely.
Yeah. Does he start, and where would you play him if you're Frank Lampard? If we were lucky to get Hayden Hackney,
he starts over Grimes. As controversial as that sounds.
Yeah.
I think Hayden Hackney is the best midfielder in the Championship, and by some distance.
Yeah, he's a difference maker, isn't he, for them?
Yeah.
Because they've struggled since he's been injured, and I guess you could say Morgan Whisker been injured has also been tough for them. But he definitely makes them tick, and I'd be very happy if we got him on board. Glenn's also asking how much do you reckon Borough would want for him. I don't know what's his contract. Do you know what his contract situation is on that one?
It ends in 2027, but I think they would demand upwards of 20 million plus 25 million. And you know what? If we can pay it, because it'd be worth every penny.
I guess the other positions you could look at is the goalkeeping situation, because of as great as Carl Rushworth has been, it's not really clear what his situation is going to be come the summer. Onyeka, I think we'll definitely sign because I think we've got an application to buy him. So I think that will be a done deal. So I think we need another striker. I think Ellis Sims for me has to move on. Has to be moved on, in my opinion. I look at that chance he missed yesterday, 1-on-1, and he's put it in row P or whatever it was, and he just lacks confidence in that 1-to-1 scenario. He works hard. I don't get me wrong. He's not really awful, but I just think his finishing at times is just erratic.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment. When his finishing is on it, he's on it. He can score braces, he can score hat tricks. But when it isn't, it shows. Where a shot, you think, okay, at least get it on target and test the keeper, and it goes into row's head. Moving on, Sims. Yeah, I wouldn't say I disagree because I think you can get players who have got very similar attributes, physical attributes, especially to Ellis Sims, who are just better. I think you need a player like Ellis Sims in the Premier League. I don't disagree because he's got all the physical attributes that you would like. But you need better than Ellis Sims too.
Yeah, I just think I'm just not convinced of it. I think Haji Wright, on the other hand, okay, he scored what, 16, 17 goals. He's had a pretty good season. I'm not saying he had a bad season. I actually think he may do better in the Premier League. I don't know why. I think he might rise to the occasion. If you look at the cup games against United and Wolves, he really stepped up to the plate, didn't he?
Haji Wright is somebody who, in my view, people will call him lazy, and I'm not sure that's fair. But I think bigger the game, the more motivated he is. I think Haji Wright, he's a very introverted individual. I think it's quite obvious, and I think that gets mistaken for arrogance or laziness. I don't think that's the case. He's just very introverted, and I think with Haji Wright, you need to motivate him. And I think every game in Premier League is going to be extremely hard. Every game is going to be a challenge, and maybe that'll work to his advantage. I still think we'll need another striker, maybe two strikers. But I absolutely see a place for Haji Wright at this at Premier League level. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah. What else did he say? Sky Blue Sam says, "Will the striker from Bodo Glimt be a decent sign?" I'm not sure what striker he's referring to. I don't know if you know that one, Cameron.
I believe he's talking about Casper Ho. He's in the 25-26 season. He's scored 17 goals domestically for Bodo Glimt, and he's also scored 6 in the Champions League. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I can't speak. Good scoring record domestically and in Europe. He was a very important part for their in their success in the league and in Europe for the last 2 years. Last season they made the Europa League semi-final. They made the knockout stages of the Champions League. Yeah, I could see a situation where he could do a job in Premier League, and even if he didn't work out, he could easily go back to Bodo Glimt because Bodo Glimt, the players they produce, they're absolutely sensational. I think for me, Bodo Glimt are the best run club in world football right now. So I can see why Bodo Glimt players are going to be looked at, especially when they are doing well in the league. If they're not winning the league, they usually come in second, and they are punching well above their weight in Europe. So, yeah, possibly. It's just my only question is, could he adapt to a more temperate climate, given that his club play inside the Arctic Circle? It is definitely quite a change.
Yeah. Right, let's go loan watch. So we didn't cover that in the last show.
Oh yes, I've not done an extensive loan watch this time. I've actually I'm covering one specific player, and that's Callum Perry. He played an important part of the weekend as Rochdale scored a late winner against Braintree to keep their title hopes alive. Callum Perry, he has a very, very big game this Saturday. They're playing York City. They're playing York City at Rochdale's ground on the final day. York City are on 107 points. Rochdale are on 105 points. Both Centurions, both have had absolutely superb campaigns. Rochdale, they've not been at their best in recent weeks. I think it's been showing that pressure's been getting to them, but they're still finding ways to win, and they're still staying in touch. The task is simple on paper, anything but. If Rochdale win, they're champions. It's as simple as that. So if Rochdale win, Callum Perry is going to have a National League title on their CV. If they don't, I wouldn't begrudge Perry or Rochdale players. For me, York City have been the best team in this division, and if they do, and if they do end up winning, if York do end up winning the league, they've deserved it. For me, they've been the best team. But what Rochdale have in spades is finding ways to win when they haven't been at their best. And if they can do that one more time, then they're champions. And Callum Perry, whether they win the league, got through the playoffs or don't go through the playoffs, he's had an excellent loan spell, and the sky's the limit for Callum Perry. So we're all wishing Callum Perry good luck this Saturday lunchtime as Rochdale try and win the National League against their title rivals on the final day.
Yeah, we wish him well. Wish Rochdale well as well. But let's move on to Wrexham. We've also got Glenn, who's very kindly coming on now. Glenn, good evening. How are we doing?
I'm not too bad. Still buzzing after last night.
Yeah.
I think I scared the life out of Rafa Rodriguez because he walked by me on the way out of the ground, and I went, "Rafa!" I think he jumped out of his skin, the poor bloke. But yeah, it was be interesting to see what happens with him next season. But yeah, it was a real good party and good performance. So yeah, buzzing.
Yeah, it's great that we've wrapped up the title. I just had to Cameron about the fact that we've wrapped up the title with 2 games to spare. I mean, I think we're all confident we could do it, but it's certainly in my lifetime the greatest season that I've seen us play, and I'm sure same for you, Glenn. I mean, who's been sort of the standout performers this season? Like maybe top 3. I'll go. Yeah, if you were shortlisted to, in your view.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about the closest really in my time following Carve we got to anywhere nearly being successful was the Sheffield United game in the FA Cup, and obviously we lost the penalty shootout. That was the closest really we got anywhere. I think standouts for this season, you've got to put Jade Silver in there. I thought he was absolutely honking against Blackburn, but he was back to his best again last night and was really, really good. So he's got to be in there. Rushworth simply has to be in there as well. And it's really hard because there is Matty Grimes, but I do think Milan has been on a real different level. And there's moments when he did that run across the pitch yesterday, and that was like Premier League class where he just beat 3 or 4 people. Yeah. I think he's been really, really good. I can't believe he's not scored a goal yet. Someone was posted. I think him and De Silva are the 2 of the regulars who haven't scored for us yet this season. I think everyone else who plays regularly has scored, haven't they? So yeah, that's just really crazy. But yeah, that would be my 3. Definitely. And De Silva, I think there's a couple of us that keep wanting him to shoot, and he never shoots. He always just checks back and gets the ball in your box. Like, just take a smash one, have a shot. So yeah, and I thought Bobby Thomas was going to do that when he went on that mazy run, and then he stuck Mason Clarkin when he was offside. I was like, I wish he'd had a go himself. Yeah, he's another one who shows how much we miss him when he's not fit and available.
I think it's fair to say that we'll be sending Christmas cards over to Portsmouth this Christmas, won't we? Because they've done us some massive favours, and they literally rolled out the red carpets for us yesterday with the amount of mistakes their goalkeeper was making. It was kind of laughable a bit, wasn't it? Because I thought they weren't that bad, Portsmouth, but individual mistakes really cost them massively, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I think we had 5 shots at goal and scored on target and scored 5 goals. And I looked at the other teams I play. I think Middlesbrough had 8 shots at goal and they kept a clean sheet against Middlesbrough. They kept a clean sheet against Leicester and they kept a clean sheet against Ipswich. And then they conceded 5 against us, which is just bizarre. But yeah, it's kind of surreal. Them celebrating after losing 5-1, and we're celebrating, and they were delighted as all the Cough fans were singing Leicester's going down as we were walking out. The Pompey fans were cheering if everyone's singing it. So yeah, they're a good club. I've got a lot of respect for that manager, and yeah, it was a shame they got a bit of a pasting, but I don't think they mind. The job was done, and yeah, they stayed up, which is a massive achievement given the amount of injuries they've had. And they've got some good players. To be fair, the lad who scored the goal, it was a real good finish.
It was.
Segicic.
I thought Colin Chapman was good as well for them.
Yeah, one a few times. Colin Chapman probably got cheered at the CBS.
Yeah, I think he deserves that as well. But I think Portsmouth are a really good club. Fantastic support, very passionate. Definitely the best, in my opinion, the best away ground I've been to as a Cov fan in terms of the atmosphere. It's always a really good atmosphere there. And that game I went to when we lost 4-1 at their place last season was a miserable game. But less said about that, the better. Right, let's get to some comments. Your average COF fan. I guess we'll go to Cameron and Glenn after this one. Would you want to sign people with Premier League experience or look at players for the Championship with resale value or overseas market? Cameron, will start with you and then we'll go to Glenn.
I think we all want players with Premier League experience, but I think the thing we all need to be mindful of is wages.
Yeah.
And I say that because Premier League players nowadays, they are on some huge wages. Like, you've got bottom half Premier League clubs paying their top earners up to 100 grand a week. It's not cheap. If we can get some experience, but absolutely. Case in point, for Frank Onyeka's coming permanently. He has Premier League experience and proven Premier League experience. I'm sure there'll be a couple of players in the Premier League who maybe have that experience and they might be available on the free agent market. Maybe look at that. Possibly a player who's maybe a little bit out of favour, looking for a bit of a refresh. But I do think that the core recruitment will be from the Championship's cream of the crop and from the overseas market, which I don't think is a bad thing because Premier League clubs sign from the Championship all the time. If you're the best in the Championship, you deserve a shot in the Premier League. If you work out, great, you maybe get a bigger move. If you don't, okay, you maybe go back to the Championship or go abroad. But if you do well in the Championship, you deserve a shot at the top flight. And that's what footballers should always be. It should always be a conveyor belt. If you're doing well, you should always get the opportunity to play above. So I would not begrudge signing from Championship clubs if players are good enough to make that move. And overseas market, I think that'll be our most important market. So yes, I think the overseas is going to be our biggest market this summer.
Yeah. Glenn, would you add to that?
I think I'd go, if we're going Premier League experience, it'd probably be the players that we know we're not going to get resale value on. So people who've maybe been around the blocks, maybe out of contract or out of favour at, the likes of Villa, Everton, Palace, those sort of clubs. Like, you've got someone like obviously we wouldn't need a Nathan Clyne type, but he's been around in the Premier League quite a bit. I would like somebody in that model probably as a defender. I don't know whether we go back in for Charlie Hughes. The problem is that all the players that I'd like to sign, you're looking to double figures, aren't you? Like 10 million plus and whatever, or 20 million. I mean, Hull wanted ridiculous money for Hughes. I don't think Hackney, although I do rate him, will come cheap, although he's out of contract next season. You've got Hamer, he's out of contract next season. But it's just, I think there's players available. It's just how we mesh them into a team that will win in the Premier League. And I think the two key areas are we've got to improve defensively. Yeah. We can't make mistakes like we did last night for their goal. And we've also got to be more ruthless. I mean, that had you right, they played really well, but that miss he had where we had the open goal was criminal. You can't miss chances like that in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see what we do. I do think we do obviously have to improve at the back. I'd love somebody in the centre half role who can ping a little diag like Louis Binks used to be able to do in Callum Doyle. I think that'll help us switch to play. And I'm not anti against Esse now. Esse's kind of grown on me. He's shown a bit of work rate, and if we can get him for the right deal, I probably would take him on it. So I just don't want to. I don't want to lose the group. You mean the team spirit? I just want to add people in and slowly improve it, rather than having like 8 new signings in the team, because then it's just we're going to be playing catch up for the first couple of weeks of the season on it.
What about? I mean, I'll get to Dan Boy's comment. Good evening, Dan. He's asked about. He feels you need to get Rushworth in, Hackney, a top centre back, top quality proven striker, and that's our spine is sorted. And he trusts that Lampard will provide what we need. Go on, Cam.
Are you going to fund it then? Because top quality proven striker, they don't come cheap, my friend. You're thinking 30, 40, 50 million. If you're maybe thinking a top quality proven striker who's scored a lot of goals in the Championship, so maybe a Jan Popnik, but maybe Shaw, or maybe someone who's scored a lot of goals abroad, say in the Netherlands or Portugal, then maybe. But I think if you're on about like a top proven Premier League striker, you got to think of the wages, mate, because like I said, it's not cheap. they're going to be commanding 80, 100k a week. And it's not, I don't think the transfer fees are going to be the issue. I think that'll be covered okay. It's the wage bill. We're going to have the smallest wage bill in the Premier League. And I don't think we'll be paying anyone any more than £50,000 a week in our first season.
And I think that Duncan has to do that because you've got to be responsible, because you don't want to be like Leicester City, like our friends across the 69, where they're heavily in debt. They're now in League One. They've had 2 successive relegations. And I think that's what you've got to warn off. It's a difficult balancing act, isn't it, Glenn? Or do you think it's just a case that we have to be prudent with wages?
I think we have to be prudent. My concern is, like Cam said earlier, you've got players who are not great players, as in like top level players. I mean, the money that Harry Winks is on, and just his behaviour at the weekend with the fans, rightly or wrongly, he's getting stick. That's just, it's almost now that Leicester have became us. Really, they're at the chairman constantly. They can't buy a win. They've got players who quite clearly they're paying silly money to, and they're just paying them because they're on the wage bill, and they've got very few, if many, sellable assets really on it now. That's the thing, they've not learnt the lesson on it, and I think that's where we've got we don't want to be a yo-yo club. If we're going to go up, I want to try and stay up. I don't want this yo-yo club, because I think that's a gamble, and we've seen what's happened to Luton, we've seen what's happened to Leicester, and obviously other teams in the past, they haven't bounced straight back up, and there's a possibility that Ipswich and Southampton might not bounce straight back up. So you've got to be smart and stick with what works with Cov. It's the hunger and the desire. I don't want, much as someone like a Chris Wood, he's got a proven track record, but if you're going to be paying Chris Wood 60, 70 grand a week to sign him, and he has got a bit of an injury record, then I think that's a bad move for us, even though he is a proven Premier League striker. I think you've got to be smart and look at people, and we can't have passengers, so we cannot afford to be having people who have a real bad injury record and break down. Yeah,
I mean, Doug King has said quite clearly in the interviews that I've heard that we'll do things our way, and obviously we don't know specifically. I'd like us to sign 9-10 players really to have a really beefy squad, but I don't think that will happen. I think it may be 5 or 6 at most. If I was to guess, but I think personalities will come into it as well. You know, do they the sort of characters that fit well as the camp? Adam Smith, my brother, is asking Callum Wilson or Andy Robertson possible signings, although their salaries may be too high. I think Robertson has been linked with Spurs quite heavily, if providing they stay up. But are they realistic targets? I mean, I guess Wilson, his injuries is the problem. And then we've got Dan Boy here mentions about going for Madison, Spurs go down. So they're all sort of players that potentially we could be attracted to them. But I guess wages and injuries is the big question marks. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. I would love Robbo in a Cotton shirt. Absolutely. Like, who wouldn't? Robbo,
one of your heroes.
Scotland's hero. You know what I mean? My Scotsman. But again, I think salary's too high. I think if Tottenham go down, there'll be another competitive club, whether that's in the Premier League or abroad. We'll see he's available for free, and they'll be happy to offer him a competitive wage. I think he strikes me as someone who would be happy to take a pay cut, because he came from humble beginnings. He came through at Queen's Park, went to Dundee United, went to Hull, so he understands these levels, these humble beginnings. But I still think he will feel he has a lot to offer at the very top. So unfortunately, I can't see that one. I don't think he'll be happy to take a pay cut, but I don't think he would take that big of a pay cut, when I still think a competitive club will be happy to offer him 100 grand a week. And as for Callum Wilson, I love Callum Wilson, but I just can't see that one either. Just too injury prone, and again, wages way too high.
Madison, what about him?
No.
One thing I'd say is never say never. I never thought that I'd see Calvin Phillips watching him play for England in the Euros, turning out for Ipswich and Sheffield United. So it's a crazy world, and it depends on. I think a lot of these players, it depends on their attitude, doesn't it? You've had Sterling, who's been quite happy to sit and pick a pay packet up, and a few others. Whereas other people have a mentality, they just want to go and play for as long as they can. So, yeah, I think it probably is dreamland with Maddison, but then it might be that Spurs need to get him off the wage bill on a loan deal to maybe not break PSR or whatever it is. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we just we've got to be financially stable. We've got to learn the lessons of other clubs, and we've not got to lose what is Coventry City. And that is, we've always been a club that's bought our players and improved them. We've never gone and bought the established big names, with the exception of like McAllister and Hadji in the past. Most of the players we bought were players who were on the upward trajectory and improved with us, and then left. And yeah, that's what we want. We want a Dion Dublin type striker who's going to hold the ball up and get goals on the box. And we need like a Richard Shaw and Gary Breen style centre halves who are going to be solid and basically thou shalt not pass routine. There was one other striker we linked with Cameron, wasn't it? Is it Kevin Deeney? He's in the US MLS.
Kevin Denke.
Denke, yeah, that was it. He was the one. He was the name I heard quite thing. And obviously, I know Austin does like the MLS. I know he has been watching it a bit, so I think that might have a bit of credence to it.
I think when we're talking about physical strikers, Denke, fits the profile. He's someone who I've liked for quite a while. Yeah, he had a very good goal scoring record in Belgium. He went to the US. He's done well in the US. He's quick. He's quick, and he's very powerful. And he's got a finish on him. Togo international. So yeah, if Kevin Denke becomes available, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he is somebody that we do look at. So that's a good shout back, Glenn.
And I think the other ones I'm looking at is maybe like the Belgian league. I know there's a few in there. I know there's the lad who is at Accrington, Ross Sykes. He's at Union, isn't he? And he's been touted around with Premier League moving. He's got a bit of experience. And I think there's a couple from Brighton who are going out of contract. But I think Adam Webster, the centre half, but he's had an ACL injury, so he might be a bit of a gamble. And there's also Solly March, who, when he was on form, he was near the England squad. And obviously maybe he might be out of favour at Brighton, but he's definitely got talent and ability, and might be someone we could pick up as a rough diamond and want to work with Frank. I think there'll be a lot of people who want to work with Frank, which is really good. It's just who can we get from Man City, Chelsea, and whatever that's going to be good enough to improve us.
I think it was a youngster at Chelsea who linked as well, wasn't there? I can't remember his name.
Jesse Derry, who's Sean Derry's lad. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is we're going to have to sign people because the under-21 squad, I would imagine this summer's going to have a massive overhaul because I think a lot of them are going to be moving on, hence why they've had so many trialists. But yeah, there's not many in there you think would be even close to being Premier League level. So we're going to have to look at improving that recruitment side of it, and obviously maybe George Shepherd in a couple of years' time, Kevin Perry, whatever will potentially be Rafa, etc. But we're going to have to get some good youngsters in as well.
Yeah. I guess the other question I want to ask was the manager's future. Well, obviously the news of Rossini being sacked at Chelsea. Are you slightly nervous about that, or do you think it's?
No.
Do you think he'll be staying with us?
He'll be staying.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
I think
he loves it, doesn't it?
Twice star is the phrase, Mark. I think he went back out of a loyalty the second time, and he realised that it's a car crash. And I think, to be brutally honest, the stories that I've heard. I heard Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes talking about Garnacho, and yeah, his attitude's totally wrong. And I think there's several other in that Chelsea team who have a similar attitude. I think that the rumour I heard was Iriola was the one they were going to get in the summer, and apparently John Terry wanted it, and they turned him down.
Yeah. No, I think Lampard's been absolutely brilliant this season. I listened to him at the the award ceremony, EFL award ceremony, and he's got so much. He's so humble. He's he's intelligent, articulate. To me, he's just a complete class act as a manager. I mean, it's easy saying that when you just won the league, but he's just got that presence, that aura, and I think for me, he's really a fantastic human being as well as a manager. Brilliant.
I think the thing you noticed with him, and I noticed at Blackburn, was when the celebrations were going on, he stood to the side and let the players have the moment.
Yeah.
I think there's other managers, I won't name names, but they'd be left, right, and centre, jumping upon the advertising boards, you know what I mean, like that. And he's a class act. He's really really respectful, and I think he gets it. And I think it's almost a match made in heaven when a lot of people didn't want him, and he's now almost like become a Coventry honorary Cov person. And he's literally just, you can't imagine him not wanting to leave us unless like England job or anything come up, because I think he knows how well appreciated he is when he's been at other clubs where he's been kind of not been appreciated. I know Everton towards the end it was very toxic with him, and I don't think he was the problem. But yeah, the way he's transformed it, and after that little dip, and told us like, we'll be calm, we're gonna do it, and ultimately he's done what he's got a Cov side to do, that what we couldn't do, which was get over the line in the big game. We never did it. We always were the bridesmaid, and now we're not. We're the champions, and we're going up as champions, and we're the best team in the league, and hopefully we go and show it on Sunday to Wrexham.
Yeah, so let's talk about Wrexham game. It's fair to say it's not going to be an easy game because Wrexham are now back in the playoffs. But Cameron, we are due a win against them, aren't we? Because obviously, last couple of games, obviously the league game we lost there at Wrexham, we lost to them before that in the FA Cup. I mean, as much as I'm, it's a no pressure game, I still want to beat them because I'm sick to death of losing to them and their Hollywood army of people.
Yeah, I agree with that because I'm not really an insecure person. I don't really care what people think of our club, but I know for a fact that if they were to make the playoffs and we get promoted, no one's going to talk about what we've done. And I usually don't have an issue with that because I'm always happy to go under the radar. Not this time. We deserve to be acknowledged. We deserve all this praise. And I know for a fact that if Wrexham went up because of all these this Hollywood nonsense, this Disney nonsense, all we're going to talk about is that. And yeah, it's a great story, and you know what? I don't begrudge him for that. This is our moment. Can they go away? Go next year if you want. I don't care. But just miss out this season. Spend again next year. Build more of a squad, because this is our time. This is our time to be praised. Just go away.
Gleb, we're due a win, aren't we? Against them.
Yeah, we are. And I was just looking at the league table. Just out of interest, Charlton are 1-0 up already against Ipswich.
Oh, great news.
After a minute. So yeah, that makes it interesting. Obviously Hull go to Charlton, don't they, on Saturday? Norwich still have a slim chance, but they obviously need to win both games and hope that Wrexham lose both games, and Hull don't win on Saturday. So it's still not all. They're still going to have something to play for. They're probably going to need a minimum of a point against us. But they're a decent side. They'll cause us some problems. Got some real good players. I've always liked the lad Max Cleworth, who I first saw in the FA Cup tie when he played against us. I thought he was really, really good. And the wing back they've got, Thomason, who's actually a midfielder who they've changed to a left wing back. He's got a cracking delivery on him. And also Kiefer Moore, who always scores against us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd fancy us, especially if they have to chase the game. If we can score early and they have to chase the game, then we could pick them off quite convincingly. And yeah, I'll be interested if we get a guard of honour off them or not. And that could be quite entertaining. But yeah, it'll be a great atmosphere with their fans. They make a lot of noise, and they would be an asset to the Premier League. But Yeah, I think that it's going to be very hard for them with the other teams that are left in the playoffs to get past them.
I like Ibore as well on the right wing. I think he's a very good player, very pacey. He caused a lot of problems in the game at Wrexham.
Yeah, he was one of probably Luton's best signings when they went up on it. So yeah, I do like him. And the other lad, obviously Josh Windass. He's got a decent record of scoring against us as well in the past, and he had a hat trick of assists for Kiefer Moore. So yeah, they're a good solid side, but they are beatable, as it's shown when Southampton went there and give them a bit of a tanking. So who do you guys think are going to finish second, and who's going to win the playoffs?
Well, my heart says Millwall, Middlesbrough, because I want, with the greatest respect to the weaker sides up. My head says I still think Ipswich, Southampton.
I want Millwall to go up, just purely because I think entertainment value in the Premier League will be great. And I desperately don't want Ipswich or Southampton to go up. So I would take Middlesbrough, Wrexham, Hull, even Norwich if they sneak in. Could be interesting. Ipswich, Norwich could be very interesting if they did manage to sneak in as a playoffs. So yeah, who's your pick, Cam?
I am going to go with my heart on this one because my brain is useless at predicting these things. So I'm just going to go with my heart. Millwall come second, and the Tigers are going to join us as well. We're going to have a lot. So we're going to have an elephant, we're going to have a lion, and we're going to have a tiger in the Premier League next season. Let's believe it.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Sounds like an African safari trip.
Yeah, we're building Noah's Ark.
Right, let's go for predictions for Wrexham at home. Glenn, what's your heart and head telling you about this game?
I think it'll probably be 3-1, 3-2, Cov. I think there'll be goals. But yeah, I think we'll nick it late on with our pace as they go chasing the game. But yeah, I think hopefully we win, because it'd be nice to end the season at home on a win.
Mr. Cameron?
I'm going to go 5-4. We're going to go for a thriller. And 5-4 to Coventry, I should stress. We're going to go 5-4. Forget defending well for one day. Just 5-4. Have an entertaining game for the neutral. Might as well.
I think we win 4-2. That's my prediction. Hadji Wright, Mason Clark, perhaps Bobby Thomas, and maybe Matty Grimes, maybe. So they're my 4 goal scorers. But I think it'll be a difficult game. But it's a game I'm looking forward to now every game without any sort of like worry or fears. So I'm really, really excited about where we're going. Right, going to get a couple more comments in from our audience. My brother Adam Smith is asking, what can we learn from Burnley this season, the Premier League, compared with Sunderland? I don't know who wants to take that question.
I'll take this one. I think the situations are a bit different in the sense that Sunderland have got a lot of money, and as a club, Sunderland are massive. They're absolutely massive. They would have had a lot of pull. I can't think of many promoted sides that would have had the pull to lure Granit Xhaka back to the Premier League for their project. Granit Xhaka is, in my opinion, still one of the best midfielders in the world. So to get him is a major coup. So I think I definitely help them. But as for Burnley, I think it'll be. I think it's a case that Burnley they recruit players, but they're just not good enough, and that can easily happen because it's still a big step up. I think they've had a better go of it this year compared to the last time they were in Premier League. I think that season the Vincent Kompany was just an absolute disaster. They tried to play a certain way, and then they wonder why it wasn't working. But I think with Scott Parker, he has tried to adapt, and although I don't really rate Scott Parker highly as a manager, I can still credit him for trying to adapt and trying to do what he can with that Burnley side. It's just not enough. So I think the main thing is just recruitment, but also keep in mind that we probably will not have the same kind of pull that Sunderland have had this summer.
Glenn, what's your take on that?
My take on it is I think to stay up, you've got to score goals. I think it showed Burnley had the best defence last season in the Championship. Admittedly, they did lose Trafford, who was a massive blow to them. Dubravka is a decent goalkeeper, but he's not James Trafford. And they've got exposed this season with the lack of goals they've scored. I think Zion Fleming's still their top scorer, and he's not really a striker on it. And I think you've got to target some games now, and I think there is games where you can look at it now. Maybe when you go to Man City and you go to Anfield and Old Trafford, there is an option now as a newly promoted team. You can have a go there, and the fear factor's probably not there that it used to be, and you can nick results. Leeds came very close to getting a result at the Etihad. Obviously, they took points off Liverpool. Sunderland took points off Liverpool. So yeah, there's that potential. I think you've got to have people who can score goals and win games. And I think that's where Burnley let themselves down, and that's the difference with Sunderland. They've got players who can score goals, and people who can create chances. Obviously, Lefebvre, there's that Xhaka, and a few others. Ballard's such a dominant threat in the air that you can really get results that way. So you can have multiple ways of winning. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting next season in the Premier League, because there's a lot of teams who could be in European football, and there's a lot of teams who could be changing manager as well. And we've got the World Cup as well, which could impact teams as well.
Yeah, interesting points. All right, my nephew Arlo, he's only 7 years old. Good evening to you. I hope you're still watching this. Thinks we're finishing 14th in the Premier League. I think we'd take that, wouldn't we? 14th?
Easy. Yeah, I'll be very delighted with that.
By his hand off, I'm trying to think if we finished higher than that in the Premier League. I know we had one good season under Phil Neal where we finished like higher mid-table. I can't remember where we finished under Strachan that time, where we didn't win an away game. But that might be one of our best finishes if we got that in the Premier League.
I think we finished about 6th or 7th on the John Sillett in 88-89.
Yeah, I was just more trying to think of the Premier League era. I don't recall us finishing.
It's 11th on both. It's 11th on both occasions in 93, 94, and in 97, 98. The only difference being that 11th in 93, 94 was a top half finish, because it had 22 teams, where 97, 98 was just outside the top half due to it being reduced to 20. Although Coventry were closer to Europe in the 97, 98 season, it was only 5 points off in European place.
All right, last question for me. Was that draw at Blackburn the greatest ever Coventry City draw?
Yeah.
Can you think of a better one? You could say Man United in the FA Cup semi-final, technically, even though we did lose a tie. But
we won that game. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, true.
Probably the only other one was that draw against Morecambe that got us into the playoffs, because that was
a ball fest, though.
That was a ball fest, but it was the result that got us back there. I can't really think of any others.
I'm sure that was the game when no one could be bothered to win, and they just played out a draw.
Yeah,
it was the most boring game ever.
Well, we nearly tried to do that on Friday at Blackburn, didn't we? Nearly just tried to pass it across the back four, and then nearly give it back five as it was, and then nearly give Blackburn a chance. But yeah. I think for a draw, that is probably the most celebrated draw that I can recall in Coventry City's history, except like the Great Escape days where we drew to stay up. Like I think we drew 0-0 with Leeds to stay up once. Remember that? That is probably, I would say in the recent era, that's probably the most celebrated draw and probably most watched goal that will be watched over and over again, probably surpassing Hadji Wright's winner at Wolves now by Bobby Thomas.
Yeah. I suppose the only other goal I could think of maybe was the Ben Wilson goal against Blackburn as well, which kind of helped us massively get into the playoffs. But I think obviously this is a bigger result with the fact that we ended up getting promoted on that result, or officially promoted, should I say. So I can't think of anything better than that, but it's just a curious question. If anyone can comment on any games they've seen where we draw and you think that's the best game I've ever seen us draw, then please feel free to comment. Dan Boy reckons that we're going to surprise everyone next season and finish top half. I like the optimism, Dan Boy. I really, really do. I predicted top 2 this season. I took some backlash on social media. I think we'll have a tremendous start, and our home record will be excellent. You know what, Danny? I like what you're saying there. I like that positivity, and I think, you know what? Why not? Because the morale's good. We're confident. We enjoy each other's company. We definitely need to strengthen massively, but it's just exciting time. It's probably the best feeling of being a Coventry City fan for me ever, I would say. You could look at that as the Premier League days, maybe that's over 25 years ago, but it's magic, isn't it? Everything about the club is just set up perfectly now. We've got it sorted off the field. We've got it sorted on the field. It's just a great place to be at. And I think the credit also needs to go to those people that are behind the scenes of the club that we don't really talk about. I think they deserve a massive pat on the back as well.
Yeah, I think the thing was when I started watching them 92, 93, we were in the Premier League, and it was you didn't know any difference. You didn't know what it was like to go to lose at home to Accrington. I don't know where Accrington were in those days. I don't even know if Forest Green exists. I think Forest Green were playing at my local team, Bedworth level, when I first started following Cop, and you didn't know any difference. And then you almost got a bit blasé that we'd get away with it, and then we went down a level, and it's like we'll get back up, and then we didn't, and then we went down again, and then you almost hit rock bottom, and then it just that day against Oxford with the 46,000 fans just seemed to just turn the tide, and yeah, I think we owe a big gratitude to Mark Robbins, Adi Vivash, Dave Boddy, and obviously numerous of all the players, Michael Doyle and Liam Kelly, who got us nearly all the way back up. And now it's exciting because like last summer, we didn't know. We thought we'd bounce back and do all right, but we didn't know, and there was always those doubts. And even at the start of the season, there was a few like sketchy results and draws, and we weren't overly convincing in a few games. And then we just click, and Lampard's just got this knack where he can click us into gear, and we win six or seven on the spin, or even longer than that. You can do that. If you can do that twice in the Premier League, that's almost 30 odd points. You're nearly safe then, really. So that's the thing, and that's the good thing with it. And yeah, there's never a better time to be a Coventry City fan. And like I say, Cam hasn't experienced the Premier League, and he'll absolutely love it. And so will Ben. And there's a lot of other people who've traipsed around and watched us play at some awful grounds, and they'll get to go to some of the best stadiums in England and probably in Europe next season and enjoy it.
Last word, Cam, on tonight?
I just want to give a score update. I don't know if Katie Talks Rovers is still watching or not, but Blackburn have opened the scoring against Sheffield United thanks to Ohashi. So if that stays how it is, Oxford will be going down back to League One.
Yeah, that is correct.
Middlesbrough 1-0 up, Birmingham are 2-0 up. So that means that Wrexham still stay in the playoffs, but no one can catch Middlesbrough now to overtake them due to their superior goal difference. And Ipswich, the best Ipswich could do now is 85 points. So if Millwall win the last two games, they might just pip them, and hopefully Southampton take some points off them. So it's been Ipswich seem to have choked it at the wrong moment, unfortunately.
Well, still early days. I think I must stress to anyone who's listening on the podcast when it's released, it's still early days. Only 20 minutes gone. So by the time you listen to this recording again, it might be an Ipswich win for all we know. So let's wait and see. Guys, been great having you on. Thanks for your time tonight. We've got a show Sunday night. Hopefully we'll talk about a win against Wrexham to finish the season at home on a massive high. And we'll be talking about the Watford game, obviously, the following week. That'll be pretty much the end of our season. So, guys, thanks for coming on. I will be looking to do a fans around the world show. So if you're a Coventry City supporter that's living abroad, I'd love to have you on, talk about the season, because as great a success as it's been for Coventry City fans, I want to share our success with fans who may not have been able to go to any games this season, because it's important that, you know, you come on the show. I want to hear from you, you know, to talk about, you know, your thoughts on the season, who's impressed you, etc. So it'd be great to have you on. So if any fans are living abroad, please pass the message on. I'd love to have you on if anyone would like to come on who lives outside of the UK. Thanks, Cameron, for coming on tonight. As I say, please like and subscribe to our show on YouTube, on all our social media channels as usual. And good night. Play out Sky Blues, and I look forward to speaking to you on Sunday. Good night.